amount of thinking and preparation for this meeting. She had recorded our first encounter and listened to it over and over, pondering our time together deeply. John, the biggest thing I noticed in our earlier conversation was the extent to which you use military analogies. You talk about commanding an army, about battles, about deploying the troops, and you seem to think about yourself being in a fight. She paused, giving me time to reflect. She was right, I thought to myself. It was how I felt about the challenges and opportunities facing us, and how I needed to lead Leon. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, Amy continued. I'm just wondering if that might come at too high a cost to your health. That got my attention. I had for some time been feeling that the price of my desire to achieve had been my health. That was why I had gone to see Wendy Mandy in the first place. In addition to high blood pressure, an irritable bladder and gut had been adding to my unease for years. Wendy had done a huge amount to help me manage this, but I needed to do more to fix these things for good. Eternity. I thought it might be helpful if I gave you an alternative metaphor to think about, Amy then said. An alternative metaphor, I thought to myself. Really? What sort of an alternative metaphor? I felt as though I actually was fighting, that I really was using scarce resources to win battles. And suddenly Amy was suggesting that the army and fighting stuff wasn't real, that it was somehow a map I was creating to explain the terrain of my business, and perhaps even my life. There was a man in Sydney, Australia, she began. She had me at Sydney, Australia. I've always liked Australians. Who heard his pastor say, "Eternity, eternity. If only I could preach the word to all of Sydney." Now, this was in the 1930s, and this was an uneducated man who had fought in World War I, acquitting himself well. But when he came back, he got in trouble with the law. He realized he needed to change his ways, and he decided he would help his pastor achieve his goal. He'd get up early every day before most of Sydney was awake and write the word eternity in chalk, on pavements, on walls, on famous buildings, anywhere he could, in copper-plate handwriting, so unmistakable that when people started to notice, everyone knew each word had been written by the same man. And everyone started to wonder, who was this person writing eternity everywhere? Why was he or she doing it? What did it mean? Every day for 35 years, he wrote this word, the only word he could write, because he was functionally illiterate, all over the city, until everyone was talking about what it meant. With this single action, he prompted everyone to ponder the meaning of eternity. He changed an entire city's conversation, so much so that at the 2000 Olympics, they lit up the word eternity in fireworks on Sydney Harbour Bridge. Ah, okay, so that wasn't a perfume advert. The moral of the story, Amy said, is that one man was able to achieve something big in a way that was within his own resources. It was something simple that he could do without stress, without fighting or overstretching himself, and without making himself ill. His name was Arthur Stace. I liked what she was saying, but how could I really apply it? Over the next 10 sessions, Amy helped me rethink and refeel my approach to Leon and my life. She introduced me to the great work of your life, a Western exploration of the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, that is rich in examples of people who have lived their lives according to their sacred mission or dharma, which prompted another friend to recommend Mastery by an Aikido master called George Leonard. And between these two books, I discovered the joy of committing oneself to one thing and practicing it now in the present moment, without emotional or physical distraction, and in so doing, allowing oneself not to be fixated on the outcome. I had grown up being reasonably good at a number of things and driven by a can-do approach to new hobbies